beautiful people. It is so good to be here with you. I think it's time to tell my story, my Kundalini story, and I am in pleasure giving you this opportunity to hear my story because maybe it'll inspire and help you as well in your Kundalini and life force essence experience. I'm gearing up and I'm about ready to talk at a World Tantra Conference event online, and that will be happening soon. And my topic is Kundalini and Bliss as the Endpoints of Tantra, or Bliss and Kundalini as the Endpoints of Tantra. And so I'm looking forward to presenting that, but I want to tell my own story to maybe have you be inspired to come to the presentation and the talk and be able to ask me your personal questions. Because in my Kundalini experience, and I should probably go back and introduce who I am. For those of you who don't know, my name is Dr. SIERRA25. I am a licensed physician and an acupuncturist. I used to help deliver babies, so I know the ins and outs of human development and sexuality. And I also teach Tantra. And my world of experience and exploration, I'm also a Kundalini expert and have lots of Kundalini experiences. And so part of my reason for presenting is to give my gifts and talents as somebody who has lived experience and not just book experience. Because for some people in this world with Kundalini happening in their body, not everyone, but it can be either a lonely or frightening experience. Some fear can come up. And what is this? What's happening to my body? Why is this happening? So at this point in my life, I've come to the endpoints of Kundalini and Tantra. Not that they're exact endpoints, but some of what the sacred texts write about in terms of experience. And again, I want to be a resource for people to be able to express themselves and come into community or collaboration and go, hey, is this normal? Or what is this like? And some people are like, am I on track? Or how does this run in my body? Or how can I do it more smoothly so that this experience can be less painful? And again, part of why I came into Kundalini and Tantra to begin with was for evolution and growth and enlightenment. So I just want to put that out there that for me, there's Tantra, there's Kundalini, but it's also this greater perspective about enlightenment and what that is like and the perspective of that. And some of that means running clean energy in your brain, running clean energy in your pineal gland so that you can see and feel new and greater opportunities that can make you feel super good and super fabulous on the inside. So I want to, number one, invite you to my talk. And then I will going to try to explain some of my Kundalini experiences as well. So now a bit more to my personal story. So we have to get really expanded, and I'm going to ask you as the audience to get expanded to understand my Kundalini story or the Kundalini story or where Kundalini even begins. And some people, I just want to drop a hint, Kundalini actually can even begin in the earth itself. So does it start in us? Where does it start? Where's the end point of Kundalini? So just going to drop those little bits of information. But going back to my story, part of what I want to do is speak from an expanded space rather than a contracted state. And the reason we don't talk from contraction is that contraction can really limit Kundalini and limit your psychic powers and limit your awareness. So I'm going to speak from an expanded state first, and then thank you. And, and then we get bigger from there. But I will try to weave in understandings. So if I go into my expanded state, and the reason I have to go into an expanded state is because people ask me, when did my Kundalini begin? When did it start? And I've tried to track this many times. And as some of you might know, I am a bit on the psychic side and can see and feel energy. I have synesthesia, which means my senses are blended. So I can really go into multidimensionality with all of this. So tracking where my Kundalini first began was more a sense of, if I go into my feeling state, it really happened at least 3 other lifetimes. So it doesn't always happen in this lifetime. And I think people need to sometimes understand with their own Kundalini, where did it start? When did it begin? What triggered it? why is it even here? And so sometimes we need to understand those things. So again, that's part of my gift in working with people's Kundalini, is to help them understand these things and help them understand their insides better so they can understand how the outside world is working as well. Okay, so back to my story, or attempting to go to my story. I'm going to tell you next about one of the most profound experiences that I had with my Kundalini that I'm aware of. So what happened was about 9 years ago, I'm at the 9-year mark of a really strong Kundalini experience where and other masters and saints and sages have had similar experiences. And that's how I know that in some ways this is a legitimate Kundalini experience. And I happened to be alone. And I was walking down a long hallway. If any of you have been on a large cruise ship, some of you know that there's very long, thin hallways with nothing but doors on each side. But I was essentially running light through my body. And this is something I talk about in other videos, is running light and being with the divine at all times. So what I know is I was running light. I was running light through my body. I was running light through my aura. And I was walking down the hallway and I was paying attention to what we call priorities, which is something you might learn about if you take a class in resonance healing or resonance therapy, or read the upcoming book that Anne Paquin and I are writing, and looking forward to getting into the world. So anyway, I was walking down this hallway alone, and boom, boom, boom. This wave of energy came up over me as I was walking. And it was kind of like an explosion. And part of my awareness knew what happened. I was walking, I was focused on going to my room on this cruise ship, and looking forward to being even more alone for a few minutes and gathering myself. But so I was a little bit focused on that, but I knew something significant happened. I felt this wave that I had never felt before. And from that moment on in my life, my complete nervous system got rewired. Like every nerve in my body got rewired. And also my emotions and how I felt got rewired. So I think for this example in this video, what I'm going to talk about is more like the Buddha's experience. So the emotional rewiring I went through is much like the Buddha, in the sense of like, you can be in the middle of fire, you can be in the middle of extreme stress, but inside you're still able to maintain your peace and your harmony. And in Tantra, that's also the goal, is like, no matter what your external events are, especially if we talk about Shiva and Shiva bliss, then, which is kind of a profound state of permanence in bliss, that happens when your Kundalini rewires. So there's an ability to access that or be in that state at all times. And it becomes at your beck and call to be in that state. And can you imagine what it's like to live in a world of bliss that you can call on in any moment? And that emotional bliss, it could be physiological bliss, it could be bliss for the world. And the beautiful thing about running Kundalini, which I love at this point in my life, is that I can run bliss circuits for the entire world. So I can ground myself and be in my own bliss, but then I can radiate that bliss and help for those that are willing and accepted and want that kind of energy, that can be a bliss that upgrades the world. So I run this energy for a bigger structure than myself. And if you're really into Tantra and you want to get to these points, yes, we do these pleasure things for ourselves. And I'll just be explicit for Tantra world, is in lovemaking, or the marriage of Shiva and Shakti, or even the intermarriage of Shiva and Shakti, where we come to these states of bliss, but then we dedicate that bliss to a greater picture of the greater world. So that's where I'm at in my life. I'm in a place where Kundalini has risen, and I want to dedicate this bliss to the world, and the upbringing and nurturance and dedication of bliss to the world on a larger scale. So I want to show up for this conference and be available for what is called a satsang, which is when people get together and they gather and they ask questions and they get to be heard and witnessed, and their experiences get to be validated. And I'm looking forward to being present, running my Kundalini, helping maybe do a transmission for people who want to raise their Kundalini as well, raise or rise, depending on how you want to look at it or feel it. And as I can induce my own Kundalini, sometimes that can, again, for willing people, transmit to you. So I would love to give a transmission, again, with permission for those who are wanting to receive that. So please come on a human level, come to this beautiful Tantra event. It is a beautiful opportunity. It is a time to ask experts questions or get expert opinions, and I will be part of this conference. And I will be speaking at 9:30 a.m. on the 28th of February in that specific time, California time. So there's time converters on the website that will help you navigate how to find me. And I'm just super, super excited to be present. And I thank the Tantra event organizers, including Dory and Eugene, for inviting me to share and participate and help everybody's Kundalini and bliss and enlightenment elevate for greater awareness and inner strength and more inner tranquility, no matter what's going on in your life, including COVID or emotional stress or relationship stress, and just being in, I would call it, your growth hormones and your enlightenment hormones, so that you can light up yourself and light up the world and just be the greatest best you can possibly be.